Welcome to Chapter 1 of Second Life Altered Book Projects for Teens. I'm Kayla with the Southeast Bend County Library. If you are a tween or a teen, then I probably got to do an awesome program with you. It's been so long, so I thought we could do something virtual. If you've already signed up for this program, then you have a kit waiting for you at the library with your name on it. Make sure to pick it up within the next week, because otherwise it'll go to somebody else. So in your kit, you're going to have a book. Your book is going to be a little old, a little worn out, which is the whole point, to recycle them. You'll also have a library pocket in the back, so mine already has one, but you're going to get one of these. You can do whatever you want with it. So let's get started. When you get your book, you want to start thinking about what you want to focus on for it. I'm going to take my book and do a whole bunch of examples. If you want to stick with one or two things, that's fine. We're going to do something new each month. So if you want to follow along with me, then that's awesome. Or if you want to do your own thing, that's cool too. So to start off, I would encourage you to just take a look at your book. Mine has some defects here. The binding is falling apart here. I can see the spine in there. It's falling apart here. So those are just things I'm going to keep in mind as I'm working with it. I'm going to pick a page about halfway through my book here. I'm going to leave a good chunk here because in the future, in a future class, I think I might do some carving for a little pocket in the back, the secret compartments in books. I will warn you, it's very time consuming, so if that's not something that interests you, or if you don't have the patience to cut a few pages by a few pages, then you can skip ahead on that one. But I'm going to leave about half of my book, and I'm just going to fold about half of the corner up here, just to kind of mark it. It's a good way to start kind of breaking your book in. And I've already done that with this page. These can serve as pockets in the future, but it's also my marker that I'm not going to go past this page back here for carving. So I've got about half of my book. You don't want to go too deep because, like I said, it's very time consuming. So this is the side that we would be carving, and this is the side I'm going to use for our examples. Something else you want to consider is pulling out some of your pages. So because we're adding so much to the book, you're going to put stress on the spine here. So you want to start planning where you're going to rip out pages. You can do a few pages evenly throughout the book, or you can take out whole chunks of the book. I will show you here. I took out an entire chunk of my book here. So these sections are called signatures, and I have an example for you here. So this is our example book. It's not actually put together, but you've got your two covers here and here. And then these are the guts of your book here. So these are called signatures. So I'm going to take the covers right away. And this would be the inside of your book. So if you look, each one of these sections is called a signature. So when you open your book, you are going to look for, you can see the little dots there where it's sewn, and if you look in your book, you're going to see those too. Sometimes you gotta look a little harder, but if you keep turning the pages, Eventually you will find where they're sewn together. And that's the center of your signature. So when you rip out your pages, whether it's evenly throughout the book or you're doing a whole signature, you want to look for these. And then you're going to take that page. You're going to see it's all one page right straight across. And that's what you're going to look for to rip out. You want to try and keep your thread intact if you're not ripping out the whole signature, because then you will start tearing your book apart. This month is Poetry Month, April's Poetry Month. So in honor of poetry, I suggest grabbing a pen, black Sharpie marker, whatever you've got laying around, it doesn't matter. Find a page in your book and try your hand at blackout poetry. If you don't know what blackout poetry is, I do have some examples. I have started mine here and there's some pictures, but basically you're just going to go through, pick a random page and start pulling out some words that speak to you, and then you're just going to black out everything else around them. It's a good kind of starter to get yourself to write in the book. It can be feel weird to take, especially a library book, and start tearing the pages apart and drawing in it. So start owning your book this way. I also encourage doodles. So do your blackout poetry, do some doodles, just take a marker and start doing some patterns. This is washi tape. If you want some washi tape, we've got lots of it around, and I'd be happy to share. I just did some polka dots over here, and this is just pen and marker. That's all it is. Another thing I like to have, and I just keep it tucked in my book, is this is just another piece of junk mail actually, but it's got a plasticky kind of back to it. So when I'm working on a page, say for blackout poetry, I'll take my piece of scrap, put it behind the page, because your markers can bleed through the pages, and you don't want to wear it too thin. I'll show you here on this page. So we've got doodles here, and if you flip the page, you can see where it's gone right through, which is fine, depending on what you want to do with it. You'll also find that sometimes gluing a few pages together will give you a little bit more to work with. So you can take some simple Elmer's glue, or if you have gesso at home, if you happen to have that, it's just like a white acrylic paint. But you don't have to do that by any means. You can just do page by page. We'll get into more of that later. So let's try another section here. And if you look at the close-up, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Okay. So right here, let's see. If you can see it there, there's a little bit of thread right in here. So I know this is the center of one of my signatures. And I'm just gonna, here so you can see. I'm just gonna start tearing that right out. It's okay if it rips a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can always pull the chunks out. They slip right out from under the paper, or under the thread. So once you have your pages, I encourage you to save these because we can do lots of fun things with these too. April is Poem in Your Pocket Day, so roll them up, give them to friends and family, and they can make their own poems with them. Just going to show you a few examples. So this is an altered book that's just carved. We've got some buttons on it, and it's like a little door. When you open it up, it is carved out, and you have two little dolls in there reading. They're reading a button book. And they have a spider friend in there too. So you can do lots of fun things with just things you've got around the house. This was just scrap fabric and thread. There were some buttons, and the button book was pages that were ripped out just like these ones that we just ripped out. So they're in there reading. So you can do a secret hideout. If you aren't quite ready to tear into a full book, you can try a board book. So board books are a great way to get started. You do want to sand them before you get started because often they have like a gloss on them. So this one's just got a little bit of a buckle on it. And you can use, this was foil, old wrapping paper, magazines, postcards. We've got some old clock gears down in here. You can do some braille in there. More wrapping paper. You can take the paper that you pulled out, and there's actually paper behind here. Paint over it, draw over it, put pictures in there. Just have fun with it.